Ready, set, go. We're live. All right. Here's another episode of the Max Impact Theory. I'm Tim Rosanelli, your host, and I'm here with Justin Olivieri, our producer.
Hey, yo.
So, all right. So, what's going on, Justin? Anything?
Not much, just living life, waiting for this baby to come out.
Yeah,
Not getting much sleep.
Not getting much sleep. Are you
My
excited
wife's
about
miserable. I feel bad for her.
Yeah. I was always told that being really pregnant during the summertime isn't very fun.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I heard. I don't think she's doing too bad with the heat. It's a bad summer, but
Yeah.
she's inside a lot, which is good.
Yeah.
Although she was trying to weed outside yesterday.
Oh, wow.
She's like, yeah, it's not fun getting on the ground and then trying to get back up. I was like, yeah, I guess not. You got like 50 pounds extra.
Yeah. I mean, right now, our daughter is pregnant with a capital P. I mean, she really looks like she's ready. So
Yeah, any day now.
Yeah, it's pretty much any day now for you.
Oh, I have a shout out.
Oh, okay.
I found out that we have a diehard Max Impact Theory fan.
Oh, yeah?
And the least we can do is say his name.
Okay, go ahead.
Uriel, you are our number one Max Impact Theory fan. Just want to say hi. Thanks for your support. You're awesome.
All right, Uriel. Well, invite your friends. That's all I have to say.
Spread the word.
And then you'll be even our number one
promoter, too.
Yeah, promoter, too.
Promote you to promoter.
Well, what's going on with me? The other day, just yesterday, and this is really a weird thing. I don't know if my house is on the way from somewhere to somewhere, and I'm just in the middle of nowhere. But I have people
from life into the garage. You're this halfway point.
I have people break down in front of my house all the time, and so I was at my house.
And you live in a horseshoe cul-de-sac kind of thing. You don't live like on a road.
Yeah, and I'm at the end, but close to the road. But I had somebody ring my doorbell the other day. One ring, I think to myself, oh, it's just UPS telling me that we have a package.
Yeah.
And then it rings again, and I'm like, oh no, I'm definitely not answering that because that's probably a Jehovah's Witness or something. And then I felt guilty, so after a few minutes, I looked out and I saw a car outside, and then I saw an older lady, walking up to the car, and then I felt really guilty because I kind of have I don't know if you know, but I kind of have a soft spot for old people. I like to help them out whenever I can.
Yeah.
And I went out, and she had a flat tire, so it's the second flat tire I've changed for somebody.
You sure you don't have like spike strips out there, just giving everybody flat tires or something?
Yeah, maybe I have spike strips.
Your neighbor's been throwing screws out out in the driveway, making everybody get.
What do they call that syndrome where you like a fireman that starts fires just so they can put them out? There's like a name for that. Maybe I'm the one.
I mean, I'd call that crazy person.
Well, yeah, it's crazy, but you'd almost think that I was trying to make people break down so that I could be a good guy.
In your sleep, subconsciously putting out things to make people get flat tires.
Yeah, so I could run out there and be like, "Hey, I'm here to save the day."
Your subconscious is like, "I need to feel good about myself tomorrow."
Yeah, bad today, good tomorrow. But so this lady was out, and she just needed to find out a number for her work so she could call. And I offered to, change her tire and everything. But the one thing I found is
not just any work though, volunteer work.
Yeah, she was doing volunteer work. Yeah, that makes you even feel
like a thrift store.
Yeah, and I was like, oh man, I really got to help this lady out. And so I changed her tire. But the one thing I think is really funny these days is how hard people have for just somebody just being nice. She wanted to give me money, and stuff like that for helping her out. Now I don't need her money. I mean, I live I'm pretty comfortable.
Yeah.
and I just do things like that just because it's out of the kindness of my heart.
It's the right thing to do.
Yeah, it's the right thing to do.
It's the way your mom brought you up.
Yeah, I always offer to help, and when I feel like it's needed and necessary and
I kind of feel where she's coming from, though. Like, when people do things for me, I don't know what to do, so I just start feeling really guilty that somebody did something nice for me.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, I think it's like, it doesn't happen very often.
Yeah.
You know, so when somebody does something for you, it's like, oh shoot, what do I do? But on the other hand, it's also like you feel really gracious, like you feel gratitude, but you don't know how to express it.
Yeah, yeah. And it's almost
I
like
think that's the biggest thing. Is like making like it's guilt from not feeling like you can show your gratitude to the other person as much gratitude as like you're not, you can't show your appreciation.
Yeah, yeah. And I didn't do that and then say, like, hey, by the way, you can sign your grandkids up for Maximum Impact Karate.
Right,
it wasn't. I mean,
here's my card.
I didn't even tell her, what I'm about or anything like that. I just did it out of the kindness of my heart, and she was like, she appreciated it, obviously, and that's all I was looking for was appreciation. I think it's kind of shocks people too sometimes nowadays. It seems like nobody wants to help anybody. It's just a lot of people just don't bother wanting to help. In fact,
everybody's got their own lives and own time tables and schedules that they gotta meet, and it's kind of hard to just slow down and smell the roses and look around you, see what who you can help or what you can do. So I guess it makes you feel better when you help people, though.
Yeah, it does.
I honestly think it does just improve your your life and your happidness.
Since I have a soft spot for older people too, I think maybe I'll sometime in the future maybe I'll volunteer for something that has to do with that. I don't know exactly what it is, but
there you go.
Maybe something. But so getting off that subject, I just thought it was funny that how hard people have somebody doing something nice for them. It's funny in front of my house because the one time we already talked about the one time where a teenager in the middle of the winter, or maybe it was the early 20s, got stuck in front of us, and you ended up coming over at that point, and since you were coming right there, we jumped his car, and he had his tire on backwards, and and didn't change. I had some lady, she ran out of gas out in front of my house, and I just gave her and she's like, I felt bad for her because she had two really small kids in the car, and she didn't know what it was, and I figured out was that she ran out of gas, so I gave her some gas from my that I would use for my lawnmower, and again, she wanted to give me something,
Yeah.
It's like I didn't really expect to get anything back for what I did. I just did it because I thought that it was what needed to be done.
Yeah.
So the other thing I wanted to talk about today is what happened at our karate school. And in the last couple weeks, we've been struggling with something. And Fenikoshi has these precepts. And one of my favorite precepts is number 7. And it says, accidents arise from negligence. And really what that means is that a lot of accidents happen because you see them coming down the highway, but you ignore the signs, and then all of a sudden something really bad happens.
Or you just decide not to think about it, and that's negligence too.
You
just start doing things without actually thinking about it.
Yeah.
Thinking through it.
And the thing that happened at the dojo was we have this separate room that's a kickboxing we use for our kickboxing class. And 3 weeks ago, before this happened, there was a guy, they're doing a lot of remodeling at our building. The roof guy came along, took down the shingles, and didn't put anything to protect the roof, which caused some leaking. And we complained about it, asked him to put some tarps on. And, obviously the accident that happened was our ceiling finally fell down and kind of damaged all the mats in our other room.
Yeah.
And
it wasn't negligence as in, oh, we'll be here tomorrow, it's not supposed to rain. It was, we won't, somehow they didn't get to it for a couple weeks.
Yeah.
After they tore it off, and then they didn't touch it for a couple weeks, and then rain started seeping in.
And I know I talked to him about it a bunch of times, and you talked to him, and then, even the morning that this happened, we went down to the office and said they better do something quick, and nothing happened.
We ran out of buckets to catch all the rain coming in.
Yeah. But I think the interesting part is, as bad as this all sounds, that whenever, and I don't know why this always happens, but it always turns out to be a good thing in the end, because in the end, and we learned, how to handle this situation, and it actually made us improve what we're doing at the karate school because of the necessity of keeping our classes going. We figured out that we could change the schedule slightly, have all the same classes and same number of students, but use a smaller room, which made our whole karate school more efficient in the end. So sometimes things can really be like a blessing in disguise, and you don't even realize it.
Yeah. I mean, it was rough going because we had a summer camp going on, so we were working all day and all night.
That guy's foot came through the ceiling.
Yeah, some dude who was trying to he was doing HVAC stuff up there. He slipped because all the beams were really wet, so he slipped and fell. It was he didn't fall straight through, but his feet were hanging out.
Yeah,
I think he bruised his tailbone because he fell straight down Three Stooges style on the on the beam. But yeah, it was like that, and then the ceiling fell down, and the fans were spraying water everywhere, and then we just kept on going. The motto of that those incidences were the show must go on.
Yeah, I think that you said that. I thought that was really funny. Is our attitude towards everything is no matter what happens, the show must go on, and you figure it out. It's funny how it's really serendipity that or serendipitous, I guess is what you'd say, that this happened, and it actually woke my psyche up to something that I would have never even thought of or considered, and then in the end it made us more efficient. The school would be more profitable because of it, which means that I can create more opportunities for other people. And and it's funny how sometimes the worst situations that you have end up becoming your best opportunities. It was pretty wild how that kind of happened to us.
As long as you just stay positive.
Yeah.
If you're so down in the dumps and you're just all you can do is be mad about the situation, and you're not trying to fix it, and you're not trying to if you just want to complain about it instead of trying to make it better, then the situation would have been a lot worse.
Yeah, really, it became one of our worst stories too, because we'll probably be talking about this for years. I mean, it was some of the things that happened. Yeah, it was like Three Stooges style kind of stuff, that could have been avoided easily, but in the end, it actually kind of benefited us, and which is really, really strange.
Yeah.
The one thing I thought too is, I mean, I've been through a lot of things in business like this before, but you've now experienced this, and the one thing that I think is really important for you is that you got to learn, through it, because you at the same time went through the same thing as I did, and together we had to figure out what to do.
Yeah.
And that actually created a knowledge base for you, and that's what. One thing that I think is really valuable in business is I always thought I was smart or intelligent, but a lot of times the things I thought being smart don't work. The things that work are the things that I learned through tinkering. I just changed things slightly, and now now that I change it, I look at the results and then I go, okay, that's working. But this isn't, so we're going to change this, and then you find out this is working. Yeah. And I find in time that's way more valuable than any kind of book knowledge you could have.
Experience is one of the best teachers.
Yeah, exactly. So I would suggest anybody out there, I know a lot of people go to college and, and universities, but also try to, as part of your education, make sure that you put some of that learning through experience into it somehow, and don't make it all book learning, because you're going to experience a lot more and be get a lot more skills, I think, from actually learning through experience.
Yeah, don't be afraid to try new things.
Yeah, exactly.
I was actually listening to a Art of Manliness podcast, and they were talking about
our favorite.
Yeah, it's one of our favorite ones. And they were talking about micromastery. which is basically if you want to learn how to cook, start with one dish and learn how to cook that well.
Mm-hmm.
And most of the micromastery was just about learning new things constantly, not like worrying about learning all about cooking and then all about like whittling and all about car repair. Like learn how to change your brakes and tires and rotors and, you know, calipers, and then, you know, learn how to do a canoe roll, and then, you know, learn how to make the perfect omelet. And the reason you do perfect omelet is because it's kind of hard to do a perfect omelet. And so what they were saying is to find out if chefs can cook, you know, for a job or something, they'll tell them to make a perfect omelet, because you can't really undercook it too easy, because it's always cooking when you flip it over. For a while, but you can easily overcook it. So there's something about an omelet that just takes a lot of different aspects of cooking into one. And so if you learn how to make a perfect omelet, you're taking all these skills into one dish, but then you can actually be a lot better at all the other dishes.
Well, think of, I want to see if you feel this. Like, imagine when you're learning something brand new. Okay, we're talking about mastery. If you start cooking for the first time, let's take another skill, because a lot of people cook, but say you just learn how to paddle a canoe or something like that, right? You are actually better than probably 99% of the people, because 99% of people never even canoed before. So you all of a sudden become a master. I mean, just by starting at most things, you're actually becoming a master at that item more than you even could imagine. And it's almost in every area. You go fishing, you catch that first fish, you're going to be better than 99% of the people, because 99% of people have never fished before.
Now I have a personal example. A couple of years ago, I started whittling. Now rowing, is it rowing a canoe? Is that what you call it? Rowing a canoe?
Paddling.
Paddling. If you paddle with the canoe, people are like, "Oh, that doesn't look too hard." You know, if you catch a fish, I've caught fish when I was a kid. But when you do whittling, like, so I'll whittle my first things, and I'll show people the first things I made. And to me, they look terrible, because I know what it's supposed to look like. Like, "Oh, that's really good. How do you even do that?" I was like, "It's really not that hard." They're like, "Oh, no, it looks really hard. I don't think I'd ever be able to do that."
Because
it's like
they
the
never
first
tried.
project I ever did. You know, they never tried. But it's like, you know, I'm not that good at whittling, but I can at least make things look the way they're supposed to. But people are like, "Oh, I'd never be able to do that." And, you know, I just looked up YouTube videos, and I bought a book, and it showed you the steps, and, you know, put some, you know, learn how to make a ball inside a cage with the little ball inside. You know?
I saw that.
So it's like, how do you get that in there? Oh, you actually have to take all the wood out from around it. You know, learn how to make a spiral. I made a fishing lure. You know, made some, you know, Santa Clauses and trees for Christmas. And people are like, "Oh, that's really cool. I'd never be able to do that." It's like, honestly, I'm pretty bad at this, and, you know, I can make it look like that.
But that's the thing, is that first, I mean, and that's why I always suggest people, like, always try to overthink trying new things instead of just doing it. Because, like, our kickboxing program, if an adult comes into kickboxing, they're always worried about they don't know anything. Well, guess what? After the first class, you are going to be better than 99% of the population at kickboxing just because you took that first class. And you know, maybe we shouldn't be so afraid to take that first step. And maybe, you know, a lot of people feel like they're going to be look like foolish or whatever you think.
Do you think it's they look like a fool, or they'll be embarrassed?
I think or
are they afraid of failure and everything that comes along with that?
I think that it's a little bit of both. I think different people kind of segue to different things. You know, like certain people will be like, "Oh, I'm going to look bad," and then other people are going to be are like, "Oh, I'm going to feel foolish," or I'm just never going to figure it out.
Like, people are held back by fear a lot, I think. You know, it's like the fear of whatever, whether I'm going to be made fun of, I won't have the time for it, so why even start? You know, if it's something you enjoy, you can make time for it. Usually. I mean, there are some people out there that have schedules so jam-packed they can't fit anything in it. But usually you can do that. You know, I've never done it before. Well, guess what? Everybody else that's, you know, done something never did it before they did it too.
Exactly.
You know,
hey, maybe we should write a book called The Art of Being a Fool, you know, or something like that. It's kind of like, you know, if you just go out with the attitude like, I'm going to look really dumb and it's going to be really, and I'm just going to laugh at myself and try it. And I bet if you have that attitude, because I know there's a lot of things that I got decently good at, and it wasn't like I have no experience, like woodworking. I've done a lot of woodworking and stuff. I made your bar. Yeah. And, I've never done anything like that, but I just...
And it works great.
Yeah.
I made plenty of drinks off that thing.
There you go. And I'm not
people
saying...
are always like, oh, that's a really awesome bar. It's like, oh, yeah, my father-in-law made it. They're like, he did? Is he a woodworker? No, this is the first time.
Yeah. And it's kind of interesting that, and it's not, it has the herringbone top and stuff like that. I've never done anything like that before.
Well, Christine's like, I want this. You're like, well, I've never done it before, but I can look it up and try it.
Yeah.
That's the thing, not to cut you off, but that's the thing about...
like YouTube and stuff.
Like this day and age, learning new things has never been easier.
Oh yeah.
Everybody
and cheaper.
Everybody, at least in the United States, has access to internet somehow. Friend's computer, your own phone, library. But even just like you don't even have to get off your couch. You literally look it up on your phone. Yeah. And there will be 1,000 videos on pretty much anything you want to learn about. And you just find the one that explains it the way you like. Yeah. You can have one where, I don't like that guy's voice. And you can change it and find another one and just get just as good information.
Oh, yeah.
You can learn it the way you want.
Talking about home repairs, I think I've probably saved myself. I'm not even joking. I think I've saved myself probably $20,000. Yeah. Just looking up videos on YouTube. I've had repair guys come out and we're looking at a problem with their dishwasher. And they told us, they didn't know what it was, but they could tear apart all these parts, and it would cost like, $1,000 or $500, whatever it was. Yeah. And then I looked at a video on YouTube, and it showed you how to clean the thing out, and I cleaned it out, and that's what it was. And I did it in less than a half hour. Yeah. It didn't cost me any money.
You already had the tools, probably.
Yeah, exactly. And I've had mechanics. I once had a situation where a dealership tried to kind of rip us off, telling us that our car needed a lot more work than it needed. And I looked up, I talked to some people that I knew, including my brother, who's a parts guy, looked up some YouTube videos, figured out it was probably the most likely thing was a part that only was $50, went out and bought that part. And, I fixed the car and they were telling me that it was going to be like $3,500, and I fixed it for $50. Yeah. So I'm not kidding when I say like it saved us like $2,000.
Yeah. I mean, this past weekend, Christine needed brakes, rotors, and one caliper to pass inspection, and they're like, so just for the rear brakes is going to be like $300. Yeah. I was like, all right, well, I'll do the work myself. I know my brother's done. He hasn't done a caliper before, but he's done brakes and rotors. It's like, I never done any of it, but YouTube, that'll work. And so we get the parts from your brother. And long story short, the caliper ended up being bad, but we replaced everything and we put everything on correctly. And then we just had to replace the caliper again. But I can now replace calipers, brakes, and rotors no problem without any help because of YouTube.
And you know what the thing is like,
and save myself a lot of money. Yes. I got all those parts for like $150.
What was it, $500 or?
It was $300 for the rear brakes. That's all I know. But I got new brakes, new rotors on all four wheels, and a caliper for $150 instead of $300 for just the rear brakes. Now that's not including rotors.
We do have to mention that you did get a slight discount because it was my brother that works for our parts place. So,
but I still saved a lot of money.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Even just buying the parts like wholesale or just regular list price would be cheaper.
Think about before YouTube, like what. I have experience with fixing things, but my experience with fixing things is because my grandfather owned a garage and showed me how to do it. Yeah. You wouldn't be able to you might be able to figure out some of this stuff, but most likely you'd have to know somebody that knew how to do it already to show you. And now with YouTube, you can almost get that advice without even knowing somebody on how to do stuff. It's a pretty amazing time to learn something.
Oh yeah, you can learn anything. My brother learned how to play pool on YouTube. Now he's pretty good.
You can get even if you are interested in stuff, you can get all kinds of like you said pool. Maybe I'm into
I learned
fishing.
How to whittle.
Yeah, you learned
YouTube,
how to whittle
basically.
fishing, like you can go into like there's millions of tips on how to do better at fishing. So I could go out and trout fish all
area
day.
Specific too.
Yeah.
Like because it's specific to the area. But I was like, oh, I wonder, where if there's any good bass areas like state parks. So I looked up state parks, bass fishing in Pennsylvania. This dude's like, oh yeah, Nockamixon. Here's how I fish Nockamixon. He's pulling big bass out.
Oh yeah.
I was like, okay, so this is a place where I know.
And it's like just up the street. Yeah. It's a pretty amazing time to be living if you want to learn something.
Yep.
All right, guys. Well, here's another episode of our podcast in the books. Just a reminder to subscribe to our channel. Also, if you have any, you want to make any comments to us, you can always send us an email at thetheory@maximpactkarate.com. Also, if you have any ideas for future shows, you want to hear us talk about anything, or if you're interested on being on our show, make sure that you give us contact us at that email. And we'll see you at the next episode.